Well, guys, yes, it looks like it's happening. We're going to get some old school FIFA legends coming back during the Grassroots Greats promo would be kind of the guess here. And to me, that's actually really, really exciting because I think that that now sets a precedent that EA can really add anybody at any point whenever they would like to. And I think that if they do that more often, that's really interesting. But we'll talk more about that when we get there. We've got more SBC leaks, a flashback card leaked that could be pretty nice. And also just a lot of confusion around the game right now. I shouldn't say confusion, but I should say a lot of disagreement at the moment as to how the game is going right now. And there's a good amount of people that are pretty unhappy right now with how Team of the Year went and now how post Team of the Year seems like it's going to be going. And we'll kind of talk about that too. But unhappy FIFA players, I mean, that's that's not surprising. If you guys would like to buy coins, you can go to MMOXP.com. There will be a link in the description. They are the cheapest and safest option. You can use my code JFC at checkout for a 5% discount. But hey, thanks for being here. I did not upload yesterday because I had internet problems. I didn't actually get my internet back until like almost content time. It was like a 12-hour downtime. So I was basically just shit out of luck, but thanks for being here. And I'm showing you Ivan Illich. You know, I'm not doing the whole joke where it's like, hey, content, like what would be it for content? Okay, let's go look at the leaks now. You know, we're not doing that joke today. The reason I'm showing you this is because, funnily enough, Ivan Illich actually, this is not his first Future Stars card, believe it or not. They really believe in Illich. He's gotten now back-to-back Future Stars cards, which congratulations. I think you might be the first card in history to ever get 2 Future Stars cards. So EA, I think, just straight up, they must have just, honestly, they probably just forgot that this card existed. And that's about the most noteworthy part of this card being released. Now, also, he has good Evo potential, right? But I feel like EA more than ever are releasing cards that have good Evo potential. Now, maybe that's not even a bad thing per se, right? I'm not really sure, but it feels like they release cards that are like that because they know pretty soon an Evo will come down the line where they're going to be really, really good for it. And we have a little bit of a kind of a small preview of an Evo leaked today as well to talk about. That is another max 87, but that card's 88, and soon we'll get to max 88s, I'm sure, for Evo. So it feels like even for Future Stars, we're getting cards right now that's like, they're kind of 4 Evos almost, which I don't know how to feel about that. What do you guys think? But yeah, with content now, there's not like a whole lot going on. And I think that that's kind of, it's just hard to keep up that same momentum we had for like that 2-week stretch there during Team of the Year. It's just like, do you even want it to be constant crazy shit? Is then the constant crazy shit is no longer the crazy shit? Like, I don't really know the right balance to it, but I think that this is kind of, this was coming. Like, we're going to have a few days of lull in here after all we've had. But there are people unhappy with a lot of the stuff right now, and we'll get into that, kind of why they are and if it's right or wrong. But okay, the title of the video here, new heroes and icon descriptions added to the web app. We saw Maradona's description added like I think a couple of weeks ago now. Now we also have a Barbo, Gervinho, Doumbia, and Beckenbauer also added into the code. Card is just a prediction, but we do have their description here. If you want to read through it, you can. But seeing that we have this, I mean, at this point, you're looking at, there's almost no way that this won't happen. I think that Grassroots Greats would be my guess as to when this will come out. We saw Maradona's description added as well, but that one, he's already had an icon profile in previous FIFA. So there was always like a little bit of, okay, is there a chance that this isn't really still fully true? But seeing that EA made up an entire profile for Barbo, Doumbia, and Gervinho, this is probably going to be a thing for Grassroots Greats promo. And I am insanely excited for this. And this just sets a precedent that any of the old FIFA legends that we have seen can come at any point in any promo. And I know this promo, maybe this actually is just the only promo we'll see it all year because it's called Grassroots Greats and it's throwing back to old FIFA legends, right? So maybe it's just a once a year thing from this point on. I don't know, but just the fact that this can happen with old players is, I mean, it's awesome to me. I'm a nostalgia merchant. I'll admit it. I'm a nostalgia merchant for this card right here. Now, the only thing would be that if it comes out and these cards are crazy good, like they're some of the best in the game, then you can't really use them at that point. If they all come out and their cards are not like this and they're obviously like 93 rated promo cards, then it's like, okay. What I hope we see is maybe a base Grassroots Grades card where they're like 86 rated or so maybe, and then we have like a hero version where they're 91 or something like that, where they're super good. That way you can actually use the new players to add into the game, because if these come out and they're at 2 million coins and it's like, well, actually on second thought, you know, what's really the point then if most people can't use them? But that won't really be the case for Beckenbauer, Maradona. Of course, they're going to be, I mean, they're going to be mad expensive no matter what, but at least for the heroes, I hope they make them a little bit cheaper, at least 2 versions maybe. But here's Beckenbauer's profile there as well. Yeah, for some of you who didn't really get to use these cards, and it's probably actually most of you, I'd probably assume that didn't play since FIFA 15, you might not get like the hype around these guys, but it's similar to like an old FIFA legend that you guys maybe had in maybe whenever you just started playing for the first time. That's kind of how these 3 are back in the day when you could use a 78 rated card the whole year and it didn't really matter. Which, is that a good or bad thing? I guess that's up for debate, but it definitely was a lot of fun. Now, okay, flashback SBC Mason Mount has been leaked, and I was like, okay. I mean, obviously, you know, the reply is like flashback to what, right? People were stunned by the Mason Mount fact that we're celebrating a flashback card for him. But beside that point, I was like, okay, probably gonna be a really nice card. But then this is where the debate and kind of like weirdness lied, was that this is his official card here, and it has one playstyle plus once again. So I don't know what is going on with the one playstyle plus stuff. I'm very surprised we're still getting these cards out. And Donk actually quotes this and says that it's not going to be the only one. Yeah, right here. Yeah, just one playstyle plus. It's not the only SBC coming with one playstyle plus. So I don't know why. I don't know why that is. That's where I think this is like my biggest confusion right now, because people will see this card being released and just immediately go like, no thanks, because it's one playstyle plus, and people have 2 in their team. There was just a 3 playstyle plus Evo. Yes, it costs a lot of coins, but when you give people the chance to get 3 playstyle plus cards and then be like, yeah, here's a Mason Mount with worse stats than what your midfielders probably have, and 1 playstyle plus, so you don't even like get to make up for it with playstyles or anything like that. Now, I do have a bit of a conspiracy here. This might not be true, but I mean, honestly, there's some reason they're releasing these cards like this, right? So my best guess actually as to why we're seeing SBCs drop that look like this with stats lower than most cards and 1 playstyle plus is because my guess would be within the next maybe 3 weeks or so, 4 weeks, maybe right after this Mount expires, there will be an Evo that comes out where Mount is like the best player inside of it. And we've seen that with a couple of SBCs recently where an SBC card is like probably the best player in there. Rafinha with that new Brazil Evo is like the best player in there, obviously. And that was, I mean, months ago at this point, the SBC dropped. But I think what they are going to like to do here is make people drop a lot of kind of middling fodder on cards that are middling, because they don't want to have that, oh no, I never did him, he's now an insane Evo. People will get that FOMO from that. And now when you see Mason Mount drop, you're like, okay, well, what about an Evo? You go and do an 85 and 86 for this card, and it's like maybe in 5 weeks he goes in an Evo, and then even then will you use him? I don't know, but there goes your 85 and 86 squad, right? So I think that's why we're seeing this. Otherwise, I have no idea. Okay, moving on, there's a couple bits of news with the FC Pro live event that finished now. Anders won it, which we talked about his tactics on my second channel, by the way. Javi Simons gets his second playstyle plus. But then with that, we talked about, I think it was 2 days ago, there were 1 of 6 players that he could pick to be an icon SBC. Now, actually, in his interview, he was asked prior to the event, who would he pick if he won the tournament? And he actually picked Bastian Schweinsteiger, he said, which we'll see if he backs down on that choice. But Bastian Schweinsteiger apparently has the best chance, to be the SBC. And we don't really know what the cards will look like at all, but last year was Didier Drogba, who ended up being a crazy card. So hopefully it's along those same lines again. But these were the 6 options there if he ends up choosing somebody different. We got a little Evo leak too. Fut Agent, more 87 overall soon, attacking, he says. Now, I will say, if we don't forget, the Sadio Mane Evo, he said that was a thing, and we have never seen that still to this day. It's been like a week. Yeah, been a week, about a little over a week actually, and we've not seen that yet. So I don't know if that just means that it's not coming out, or if it's not out yet or whatever. The tweet is still up, so he didn't delete it or anything like that. But that's really all the Evo news we've got right now, though. And with that Grassroots Grades promo, you're looking at maybe about a February 21st-ish release date. Now, FIFA U Team says Road to the Final will be its own promo. It hasn't been in recent years, so I'd actually guess maybe that this would be the 14th, where we see that combined with Road to the Final, maybe. Future Stars is going to be 2 weeks, though. It's actually a player that we've not seen yet that was leaked, and that's Barcola. Barcola was supposed to be in the team, apparently, and he could be an SBC, I guess, considering he's not here yet, or he could just be in Team 2. Now, we knew already there would be a Team 2, but just this was a side point, I guess. We haven't seen this card yet. We don't know where he is, but back to this here, you know, you got Grassroots Grades, then Fut Fantasy. That's confirmed to be a thing. Fut Birthday, I think they've not announced or anything like that yet, but Fut Birthday is a thing every year, so we can make that educated guess it'll be out around that time. But yeah, here's a random tweet that I thought was interesting to talk about here. The Ballon d'Or cards. what an idea this was. This, I think now knowing the information that we have got here, we guessed at the time, like, hey, why would you release this? The player numbers, are they like massively down right now? Or what exactly even is this promo, right? It just never really made any sense. It was very strange. Now knowing what we know, do you guys think even more now this was a planned in a couple of weeks because they were not off to a hot start, right? And we know that now. Or was this planned months in advance before the game even came out? You know, this is pretty early on into the life cycle of this game, but just, I don't know what the motivations were behind this one. I don't know what they were. I still, you know, we never saw them again. They're still in our clubs. There's no use for them in the last 2 months. I don't really know what was the motivation behind this one. And now let's talk about the sort of debate, the unhappiness of some of the community out there right now. That, for example, we got Freeza Dan like this a little bit ago. Now we're getting Mason Mount, who looks like this, right? A little simple comparison. And obviously, there's more nuance to that, but I see what he's trying to say. Every game of Weekend League is filled with, you know, crazy teams right now, or whatever. People don't like the gameplay. EA's patch won't change the gameplay. Luka Doncic was just traded for a can of Pringles. There was a lot going on right now that is definitely interesting because FC, I think, is in one of the weirdest spaces it's been in a while, and that it had a lot of traffic. Like, I think they really did get people back on their game. But now, what do they do to keep people on their game? And I think that's going to be a really, really important, like, the next about 3 weeks will be super important. And we'll get into more of that, like, content debate right now on my second channel, probably later today or tomorrow. We'll get into more of that because there's definitely a lot to say about it. But I think right now, this is probably the biggest 3 weeks or maybe even 2 weeks of the entire cycle is right now, because Team of the Year always is the biggest fall off in players. Every year, always does. There's probably not much they can even really do about that to a certain extent, but also in another extent, you can make or break your game here really in 3 weeks. Like, you can keep people on this game to a bigger extent than maybe ever before, and kind of keep that life cycle really, really going into Team of the Season all the way through the February time into the April time, right? What do they do? You know, are they going to make more gameplay changes? Are we going to see more? Are we going to see exchanges come out eventually? You know, are we going to see a lot of community requested things come out, or are they going to try and take those reins again from us, seeing the numbers they probably will during Team of the Year? We know what we're doing. We got the numbers back. Here we go. I hope I don't do that, because they did not know what the fuck they were doing. Okay, they did not know. Don't get that false sense of confidence that, oh, we're back because numbers are better again. Don't know. No. You got yourself there in the first place. Okay, you're not going to dig yourself out in a matter of a week. You're not going to. You better keep the momentum up, because you've lost trust for years in all of your loyal fan base. And the second that things start looking bad again, they're not going to stick around because they know what type of intentions you have. So with Team of the Year kind of being more unique than ever this year, combining that with like content choices people are not sure about, evos hopefully that really start taking center stage here. I think these next 2 weeks are very, very important to really this game until we get towards TOTS time, right? This will be a big barometer on like the player trust in you releasing things worth staying around for. I think that's what this will be. Looking at the market now, and we talked about, I think I'm more bullish on the market than most people kind of have been. And right now it's sort of staying the same. It's not really moving a whole lot on many cards. Like the Team of the Year card, Sophia Smith, I saw Puteos. Where is she? Right here. 5 mil. You know, it's kind of where she's been, right? Over the last few days. Yeah, 5 mil or so. She's up higher than that February 1st. But I still think like the really expensive cards, I think you're going to do well on. I remember like the heat of the crash. I saw Messi was sitting at 1.3 or 1.4, right in between there. 1.63 now. I bought him for I think 1.75 or so. I saw he was 1.3. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. I'm fucked. And then he went back up again. Now I sold him for like 1.8 on PC. It's a little more expensive on PC, but market right now, I do still think I'm more bullish long-term than most people are, because we're seeing one playstyle plus cards coming out still. Like these Team of the Years are going to be so overpowered for at least, I mean, a while. Like they're going to be the cream of the crop cards probably for quite some time. And I think that people will see that eventually, and they're going to be just, the demand's going to be there. So right now it's Monday Champs End. I think probably post Rivals Rewards be not a bad time to look at buying if you haven't bought anything yet. But yeah, I guess it's my best guess at this point. Let's read your comments now. We got Lemaire Manuel. I can't believe that idiots are doing the Mbappe SBC. For a few extra stats, 3 times the price of the gold, are FIFA players really all brainless imbeciles? And I don't disagree with the general point here. I will say, you know, whenever you see an Mbappe out there, some people have crazy fodder. Some people grind the menus of this game so hard. And I also brought this up because I was seeing people on Twitter. I can actually maybe go find it. Yeah, right here. Div 10 moment. You'll get hate for completing him. You'll get hate on Twitter. You'll feel hate in the game. You'll get hate, but you'll destroy them on the pitch. This card is nuts. So Div 10 moment thinks that it's worth it to complete, right? But yes, it's 4 mil, I think. I think it's 4 mil or so right now. And I mean, the gold is 1 mil. I mean, yeah, that's a steep difference in price for a worse playstyle plus. Miley B, opponent just quit at 3-3 second half. Never got a win. Why? The patch is not out yet. I think it comes out tonight, I want to say, on PC and console. I could be wrong, but I think it comes out tonight. And this kind of goes to the other point too, where Doc and Rum is saying, like, after Team of the Year grinds, anyone else feeling completely unenthused for the new promo? And personally, I'm like not feeling very enthused either, honestly. But again, like, should we feel enthused every promo, or will that just burn us out? Like, I don't know what the right balance is at all. I don't know if we're already way far down the wrong side of that balance, or if this is what we need, is like a lull and then come back again. I don't know. The quick step, LMAO, thoughts on EA giving out FC point codes for content creators. If that is a thing, that's pretty funny. If anyone's got real confirmation of that, then let me know. We've got Cyber Mario, who says, so happy EA is losing money and player engagement. A year and a half of money-hungry, unethical, predatory tactics aimed at grooming child gamblers. And yeah, I think that, I mean, honestly, it's probably longer than a year and a half. I think it's been longer than that, but your point still stands. It's kind of funny because when people talk about like child gamblers like that EA are trying to create, people a lot of times say like, hey, aren't the parents at fault here? yes, I think that if there's a child gambler, there's a pie chart of blame to go around. But by far the biggest piece of that pie, not even close in my opinion, is the, hey, here's a sports game that's E for everyone, but your child can literally be addicted to gambling in 3 weeks. Just hop on FC, hop on Ultimate Team, and anybody of all ages can be here, and it's just purely a gambling simulator. That's all this shit is. The game of a sport that almost every child loves. I mean, it's pretty crazy. And I think that honestly, one of the conspiracy takes I've got is that honestly, the #1 priority making these games, I think in EA's eyes, this is just speculation. I have no proof of this at all, but from everything down to the menu sounds to the pack opening animations, like that shit is their #1 priority, because I think psychologists come in and say, hey, yeah, add this here, do this here. We know what gives the brain dopamine. We know it's going to give you a reliance. We know what is going to make these packs even more enticing all the time, because they're just firing off these stimulants inside people's brains. And I think the EA psychologists are well at work, and that is their main priority. More than anything else is getting you completely dependent on FIFA points to fulfill your soul, basically, is their business model. And it's funnily enough, yeah, your game ended up becoming shit for 5 years, or I should say go downhill pretty much for the last 5 years, when it becomes obvious what you're doing and you don't care as much about the game itself, and all you care about is the gambling aspect. And most people are just gonna be like, yeah, well, I don't care, and I see what you're doing, and I'm done. And maybe I'm underestimating, just based off of this one report, you know, how much they're actually going down and stuff like that. Maybe it's not at all the case, and they're doing better than ever realistically. But yeah, am I surprised when for the last 4 years, all you've done is try to make gambling addicts and not make your game any better? People are like, oh, I can kind of see through that, and then you stop playing? I mean, I'm not surprised. Like, people are not fucking idiots. You're gonna hook some people, yes, for sure, you're going to, and kids as well, which you clearly don't mind. You don't mind that at all. You actually like that. I'm just not gonna sit here and act surprised when all of a sudden now you want to add a bunch of things back that we've asked for, because you're like, oh my god, we went too far. We flew too close to the gambling sun. Yeah, you fucking did. We saw it years ago coming. But okay, you know what? Thank you for being here so much. Appreciate every single one of you. Love you all, everyone. Peace.